Hello and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to my Game of Thrones Legends mobile game content. Well folks, today we've had an update. We've had a pretty sizable patch notes release. I want to go ahead and take you to the official website and show that to you, and let's go over it because there's a lot of things in here to unpack and talk about. As you can see, the calendar was released yesterday. I made a video on that yesterday talking about the calendar, the new events coming up, some of the things that we had leaked in the past got revealed finally, like the White Walker themed content on, that was coming soon, the next Gold Road and all that kind of stuff. But today we've had version 1.0.232. This is release patch notes on December the 2nd. So today they released this. Greetings, house leaders. A new update has arrived. Read on to learn more about new features, tuning, and bug fixes for the newest Game of Thrones Legends release. New things that are happening is the battle between the Greens and the Blacks have reached a fever pitch. With our newest event, the Assault on Rook's Rest, this event introduces the concept of back rank enemies, high HP units that never advance. Okay, so the concept of back rank enemies, high hit point units that never advance. Okay, I don't really know what that means, but we'll figure that out in gameplay. It has something to do with gameplay. In this event, this role is filled by scorpions that are aimed at your assisting dragon Vhagar. While scorpions keep Vhagar at bay, you must find a way to defeat them to allow Vhagar to bring massive damage to the battle. Oh, that is super cool. That sounds super cool, guys. I am so stoked for this. We've needed something so long that was different than just finish the event as fast as you can so that you can get the most points. I mean, while that was fun for a little while, and the strategy around building the team to be able to, do that as quick as possible was cool for a little while, it got old really fast because there was just no mechanic behind it. Yes, the events were designed with a mechanic, but they didn't produce the best result, so you didn't use them. So let's hope that this is designed differently to where people will be actually considering using the mechanics that the event is designed around. That would be cool. That wouldn't be too much to ask, would it? Well, while the scorpions keep Vhagar at bay, you must find a way to defeat them to allow Vhagar to bring massive damage to the battle. That sounds super cool. I can't wait to see what that's about. I don't want to continue on this whole video talking about that, but that really has me excited. I'm just going to say that. So, +1 for this right here. The new Winter's Coldest Nightmare has come to life. Alliance Legendary Assault Icy Viserion. Okay, I'm just going to say that Yellow Viserion, as it is the most annoying. Yeah, Viserion is ridiculous. That yellow dragon needs work bad, because when your alliance can do a legendary assault on a 7-skull Drogon and Rhaegal and beat them just fine, and then Viserion shows up and nobody can even do any damage against it at all. That one definitely needs work bad, and I hope they look at that while they're at this. But the fact that we're going to get a new Alliance Legendary Assault, that is super cool, because we need some different content. The Legendary Assault's getting long in the tooth. We do it every single day without fail, but still, I know that they would really, really love some new content. Westeros trembles as a new threat emerges from beyond the wall. Viserion, once a majestic dragon of fire, now rises as the undead Icy Viserion, shrouded in frost and death. Beware the assault of ice and fire inflicted upon your team while he brushes off your pitiful debuffs. Oh, it will take the combined might of your alliance to stand against the storm of frost and despair contained within his eternal winter gems. So that's really cool. Prepare and build your strength as we roll out this ghastly new boss to alliances over the coming days. So that could hit at any time. That could hit at any point. So be paying attention to your accounts in your alliances and in your houses. And that could be coming anytime. So that's super cool, and I'm really excited for that. Ygritte will be the PvP season end reward from December the 9th at 12 p.m. to February the 3rd. So we knew that was coming, so that's really cool. They've added the new Kings Road goals for Alliance Legendary Assault. Okay, let's unpack that. That's a lot to gloss over, but that says a lot there. Added new Kings Road goals for Alliance Legendary Assault. So I guess your daily goals that you do to allow you to progress through the Kings Road will now have goals that pertain to Alliance Legendary Assault. So that is one more reason to stay in and join an alliance if you are not already. It makes it even more important now to stay with a good group of people that want to play the game, because your daily goals, some of them will reflect some Alliance Legendary Assault completions. That's really cool. A gold wallet now appears in the gold and legendary trials. Okay. Added notification settings to the game settings, so they're going to notify you for different things now. Added more silver and iron trials. Okay, this is great that they've added these, but they really need to do something with the energy, people. We've got not enough energy to do everything, and we need you to look at and rework that system. Please, developers of the game, listen to us. We're telling you that is a serious issue in the game right now, and we really wish you would listen. So a legendary fighter, Aegon II Targaryen. Like many green champions, Aegon has the potential for explosive starts to combat if his birthright is high. Whoops, sorry about that. If his birthright is high. After this initial burst, he transitions into support, providing birthright and stamina to his team. So it looks like he's going to burst at the start and then kind of calm down into a support role, providing birthright and stamina to his team. So he's going to be an initial DPS, and then he's going to be a generator as the battle goes on. So that's interesting, because normally you have one or the other role with your heroes. Either in the faction is what I'm speaking about. Either they generate the faction ability like Caitlyn does with Stark, or they're DPS for the faction ability, like Jon Snow, that type of thing. And Ghost, that type of thing for a Stark faction. So that's interesting. You'll have people that will be a dual role. His skill, as fearsome as any, is a slow generation skill. Aegon gains 5 to 10% attack buff per birthright on him. He then strikes an enemy for 125 to 175% attack fire damage. Okay, so it is a fire damage, and it's going to stack with the birthright buff that he has on him at the time. So at the start, it's going to be more powerful. As his birthright wears off, the stacks of birthright wears off, it will go down in power. So right off the bat is when you want to strike with him. His passive is Drinks for All. That's hilarious. Aegon begins combat with 8 to 10 birthright. Aegon loses 1 additional birthright per turn. Anytime he loses a birthright, all allies gain 8% to 12% stamina. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. So that's basically going to be Free City's team on the green now, because he is going to be charging up everybody's stamina every turn. Anytime he loses a birthright, all allies gain 8. Now this doesn't say all greens, this says all allies. So that potentially means that he could be giving stamina to anybody. Daenerys, Ned. Oh wow, that sounds like that might be really broken. We're going to have to investigate that one more. His leadership ability, what should I do? When Aegon reaches 50% and 25% HP, grant all allies 3 birthright. So I guess that just means allies in the faction, because I can't really see where he would be granting birthright to people that are Targaryens, for instance, if you had them paired together in the same team. I can't really see that being a thing, although I do not know if that's how it's going to work or not. So yeah, that's going to be interesting, and that may tie into this right here as well. All allies may just mean people in the same faction. So that could be one way to limit that a little bit, because this sounds a little ridiculous right here if that's to everybody that's in the team. Legendary dragon Sunfire. Sunfire thrives when attacking a single target, and his randomly targeted attack focuses on them, making him an excellent choice for taking on other dragons. Okay. So I guess that means Sunfire is going to be added to the game as a hero as well. So that's interesting. So therefore, if that's the case, then when Daemon is added, does that mean Caraxes gets added as an ally of his or something to that effect? I don't know. Or if an older version of Rhaenyra gets added, will her dragon get added with her? I don't know. That's interesting. Or Rhaenys and Meleys. That's an interesting thought right there. Its skill is Sky Full of Suns, very slow. Sunfire deals 50 to 70% attack damage and reduces the target's fire resistance by 2 to 5% for 3 turns to a random target. This attack repeats for each birthright on Sunfire. Okay, so that means it attacks once and then does it again and again and again for each birthright? I'm not sure. That's going to have to be kind of played to be understood as well. Its passive is the King's Dragon. Sunfire begins combat with 8 to 10 birthright and 75% stamina. Anytime after the first turn Sunfire gains birthright, he gains 15 to 20% stamina. Okay, so I'm just going to make a statement here, and it bears to be seen after we actually play these, just how good these skills are. But these skills sound really overpowered, and I'm just gonna throw that out there. I realize that in these games power creep is always a thing that you have to watch out for, because developers usually will want to attract people to the new shiny, and they'll usually make them very strong in order to encourage buying and on spending and all that kind of stuff. And power creep is always a thing that happens in these games, but I think they really need to pay attention to what's going on with these skills, because these sound too overpowered and game breaking. So yeah, I'm just going to throw that one out there right now. So when this gets nerfed in a few weeks, you hear that I told you so on that one, because that just sounds too crazy. They're going to tune some things. They're going to update the new player experience for chapters 1 through 3, which probably means they're going to give new players more rewards that they didn't give us, because that's their normal operating procedure for that kind of thing we've noticed in the past. Updated champion restrictions on select trials. Skillbook trials are available after Chapter 19.9 now. Chapter 1, I don't even know how to read that. Chapter 19.9, I guess. Battle 9. Okay. Champion tuning. As you may recall from our previous patch notes, we've done some tuning to the Greens faction, And that's very obvious because that's all we've talked about so far is the addition to the green team. As you may recall, the newly released champions Aegon and Sunfire will take full advantage of this shift, and we hope that you will give them a try. Well, they obviously do hope that we will give them a try because they have really brought them out the gate swinging with powers that seem way too strong, way too strong. So some tuning on the green's birthright. Birthright damage is going to be amplified from 1% to 3%. I mean, I would argue that it was already strong enough, but whatever. The green's faction bonus of 60, 80, and 100% is going to go to 30, 40, and 50%. Okay, that kind of levels it out a little bit right there. Birthright wasn't providing enough individual value to greens, so we're giving it a buff. Birthright's damage amplification will increase, and while the faction bonus was reduced, the potential is much higher. Yeah, when they're starting the battle with 10 stacks of Birthright, I can understand that. Previous benefit at 10 stacks was 16, 18, and 20% bonus for greens. The new benefit at 10 stacks is going to be 39, 42, and 45%. Wow. That's a heck of an increase right there. This dramatically increases the power of the Greens faction as an aggressive, hard-hitting group, so long as they can keep their birthright sustained. Aemon Targaryen. Okay, so here we go. Aemon Targaryen, which was doing quite a bit of damage already when played correctly, wasn't hitting hard enough to become a truly effective damage dealer for the Greens. Wow, okay. So we tuned his damage numbers up and some of his supporting numbers down to account for the added support of the new and retuned Green members. Oh wow, there's going to be a lot of people that play those characters very happy about that. I don't know that I agree with what they have said in this, but yeah. Skill Screaming in Flames. Initial hit damage was 10% to 43%. That's going to go up to 15 to 25%. Bonus per birthright damage is 31 to 43%. That's going to be changed to 35 to 60%. So its range is increased. Passive, I Intend to Be Found, is a critical strike birthright grant, 6 to 7 to all allied greens, 3 to 5 to himself. It's removed 10% of the attack buff granted to allies for 3 turns. His leader ability, 3 Strong Boys, first 3 enemies defeated and fall below 50% HP, gives a birthright grant of 6 to 5. Okay, so it sounds like Aemond is getting buffed in power quite a bit. I think that he was already strong enough, and I think that just a lot of people hadn't really caught on to just how powerful he was already. But I guess they think he needs more power. I don't really agree on that one. Otto Hightower. Otto's birthright-based support was too focused on overly empowering Greens teams to use their skills quickly, blocking potential counter strategies. So we've balanced his stamina buff to account for the overall birthright buff. The Not the King's Equal skill is a stamina normal, is now going to a slow. Enemy defense debuff per birthright is going down. Enemy defense debuff turns are 5, they're going down to 3, and AoE damage was 29 to 42% is now going to 25 to 50%. His passive and Ugly Game is stamina granted to all allies instead of just greens. Okay, so now his passive stamina grant goes to everybody. Targaryens, Starks, Boltons, whoever's in the party gets it instead of just the greens. Ally stamina gain per birthright, 2% to 12% is going to 5% to 7. And his leader ability, Patience for Power, start of combat ally stamina grant was 20 to 25%. Now it's going to 15%. Start of combat ally defense debuff was 20% for 6 turns. Now it's 15 to 0% for 10 turns. So less of an effect, but possibly for longer. Okay. So I'm noticing a trend. I'm noticing that the greens are starting to become the Free Cities team, obviously. They're going to be granting stamina to themselves and to other factions as well. So now we have a Free Cities on crack because it applies to everybody, not just their faction. And it's going to be interesting to see how Aegon's abilities work too, whether he gives stamina to everyone or just members of the same faction. That wasn't really explained as clearly as this was. So yeah, we'll see. Are the Greens going to become Free Cities too? We'll find out. His passive, Feeling Entitled, Ally Critical Strike Stamina Grant 30 to 35% goes down to 20 to 25%. Ally Critical Strike Birthright Grant was 4, now it's going to go down to 3. And below 20% hit point trigger Resurrection removed. Okay, so I'm not really 100% sure on that skill because I never have played with Otto before, so, that's not Otto, but that is Alicent's. So I'm not really sure about that one. Other champions that got some work. So I have not even looked at this yet, so I'm going to be as surprised as you guys. The Mysterious Green Seer. Never used that one before, but I know which one it is. We were seeing large stamina spikes on teams with the Mysterious Green Seer due to the amount of Foresight gems she was spawning. So we reduced that a bit and slowed her skill speed as well. Well, I didn't know that, and I would have liked to have tried that beforehand, but if it was broken, it would have just sucked when it got removed, so maybe I'm glad I didn't know about that. Skill Green Sight, Stamina Speed Normal is now a slow. 50% chance to spawn some gems. Spawns 1 now with 1 bonus gem. Gem Effect, 15 to 27% stamina granted, now changes to 15 to 30% granted to allies. The Exiled Crossbowman. Because the Exiled Crossbowman is now a starting champion, we wanted to make his kit a bit simpler and more clear to new players by moving his Remove Buffs ability to his traits and having his skill simply provide a stun effect. Early in the champion, there isn't much of a need for the remove effect. However, later in the progression, this ability will become more useful, so it unlocks at a star rank 6. His skill, Crushing Bolt, removed the remove buff effect, added 70 to 100% chance to stun an enemy. His passive, Unarmored Shot, is a star rank 2, now adds bonus to Menders and Strategists. Star rank 6 now removes buffs, so that makes the Exiled Crossbowman possibly a little more useful. We'll see when we actually get in game and contest this. Some bug fixes. This is always welcome because there are the night is dark and full of bugs in Game of Thrones for sure. Alliance fixes. Fixed missing chat messages on Stronghold and Alliance screens. That's something that's bugged me for a long time. Not really game breaking, but it's just not visually pleasing. Champions and enemies fixes. Resolved an issue where the Ironboard Scout wasn't getting his trait stats. Sansa's leader ability now properly targets all allies instead of only targeting Stark allies. That might make her a lot more useful. Fixed an issue where Roose Bolton's passive was occasionally removing more buffs than intended. So those sound like good fixes. Event fixes. So this is something that's always a prime interest to everyone, is what's going on in events, being that's the place where you get your legendary gear. You always want to know what's going on with that. Players can see top 100 teams and champions after the end of an event. That's cool that you can actually see the teams that people are using now. So that's really cool. I like that a lot. That'll help us come up with strategies as far as what works good and what doesn't when we can actually see it. Gameplay fixes. Fixed an issue where some ally pairs would occasionally trigger an inappropriate and mistimed graphical effect callout. Fixed an issue where some enemies were not fading in and out consistently when spawning or defeated. That's that invisible issue, invisible enemy issue. Fixed difficulty selector not working after conceding from a battle. Updated the brittle tooltip to more accurately explain the damage bonus. That's cool. Raids fixes. Fixed raid leaderboard trophies incorrectly displayed after the first battle. We noticed that right away this last raid season, right when it started. People in my Discord were like, hey, this is displaying this and I got this. It's really weird. We noticed that right away. So yeah, they fixed that already. That was a big issue. Stronghold fixes. Fixed an occurrence of a black screen that would appear if rapidly tapping during Stronghold farm tutorial. Summoning fixes. Updated the partial shards tooltip in summoning to better indicate that more shards are needed to unlock the champion. And additional general fixes. Updated the download content dialog to provide more clear instructions. Okay, so let's see what they say about coming soon. We've been monitoring reports of some champions removing extra buffs and debuffs with their abilities. We're investigating and will adjust their abilities to work correctly as they're found. Okay, I'm not really sure who that applies to. Could be Stannis, could be Roose Bolton. Not really sure, but I think it's probably Roose Bolton a little bit. I've heard a lot about that one. So yeah, that's the Game of Thrones Legends team, and that is your patch notes for today. It is version 1.0.232, released today, December the 2nd. There's a lot of stuff in here. Let me just throw this out there for you. The greens. Wow. I don't really know what to say about this, but it almost seems like the greens are becoming the Free Cities team. That's what I'm seeing. I need some better explanation on how that stamina gain is going to be applied, because that seems a little bit OP, especially if that applies to people that are not even on the green team. So I need to see that. And the damage calculation is going to be interesting. I think they already did enough damage as is, but now it looks like they're going to be doing more. So get ready to face the green team in everything going forward. It's power creep at its best, folks. It always happens in these kind of games. It's always the new shiny has got to get pushed so that we can get shot in the arm to spending. That's just how it works. You just got to be prepared for it. Don't cry over your teams that you've been hanging on to since the game released, because they're going to eventually go down in power and you're going to have to move on. That's just how it is, unless you can find ways to keep them relevant. And hopefully with the addition of new characters down the road, things like the fire team will get a shot in the arm at some point and help them to be stronger, especially, like when Daemon is released, possibly that can give the Targaryen fire team a shot in the arm. I don't think the Stark ice team needs any help being powerful. They're already punching way above their weight class as it is. The Free Cities team is pretty much not a thing anymore. They've nerfed that into the dirt. So yeah, that's kind of some look ahead at what's going on, and it's going to be interesting times. I'm really cautious and not what to think about the screen team stuff. I'm going to have to see that in action, but I am really bullish on all this new content, the new legendary assault mechanic that's coming. I'm really excited for that. I can't wait to see that. I'm going to be watching my account every day for that stuff to hit so that we can get right on that and try that and see how that's going to work. So thank you for watching my content today. I appreciate you taking the time to go over these patch notes with me. If you have any comments about anything that I've said that you don't agree with, or you think I maybe have misinterpreted, throw it down there in the comments, because I would love to hear your thoughts. I do not care for you to disagree with me, because that's how we communicate and learn, when we talk about things together, and I would love to interact with you. So please do that. Always check the description of my video for a link to my Discord. I have a hugely active and thriving Discord where hundreds and hundreds of people like to go and talk about the game, and we would love to have you join us. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day, and I hope you have some fun in Game of Thrones Legends. New content comes soon. Woo! I'm excited. Are you?